life is all about, man.
Here we go.
And see, Apostle, this is the beauty of a baby.
It's like we keep giving message after message. We're doing vision, and it's like somebody has the attention of our children more than us. You know, and it's hurting.
Okay, this is Apostle Monopoly over here, and we're here still in Chicago. This is tape number 7, Love Your Neighbor Show, and we got another prayer answer that we're going to be sharing with you as we meet and hear from these mighty men of valor that got an awesome thing that they're doing for the community, and you got to hear what they got to say. Love Your Neighbor Show.
How y'all doing, Love Your Neighbor Show? My name is Brother AJ. I'm co-CEO of Notarized Inc., non-for-profit organization out here with some brothers of mine I grew up with in this community. We used to be ex-gang members, and today we just coming together for peace. Peace in the east side of Chicago, 7th Ward, 8th Ward. We coming together, man, to show these young brothers that no matter what organization you're from or no matter what your affiliation is, man, that we can come together and do things in a peaceful manner and show love one to another.
I'm sure, man. From 79th Street, ex-gang.
And you ought to talk a little louder.
But we got to put the guns down, man. It's time for us to come together, man. This killing has got to stop.
We feel that we need the Spirit of God to come in and help those of us that are crying, not community, those family members, those friends that are crying, whose hearts are broken, whose hearts have been broken, and the pain is going on. It's not a confrontation. It's pain that we have right here. It's pain that we have right here. It's pain that we have right here.
So if you guys ain't doing nothing on Sunday, come out and support us. We need some donations, we need some water, we need cups, we need plates. Whatever you can do is fine. It's fine. Just come out and support us. Peace and love.
We need you now.
Jay Bird from East 79th Street. What we need is more people to come out. The 3 or 4 hours we spend here every Sunday, there's 60 or 70 people who know are not dying in the streets of Chicago.
Amen.
South Shore is the splitting ground for our area, and we chose to join each other here for a positive move. I took from the community, now it's time to give back. Love everybody, and love those who look like you. God bless.
Now hold on. You said you explain that that dividing line that you just spoke about. What that mean?
The dividing line means cross here, get your head busted. And we chose to be right here and come together 25, 30 years ago. On the east side was Black Gangs of Disciples, BD, MC, Vice Lord, many numerous groups. But now, as we get older, we've gotten a lot wiser. Again, love those who look like you. And I mean, love your black brother and sister. Let me, God bless. Let me elaborate on that, what he meant by the dividing line. The dividing line is here. One side of the park is GDs. The other side is fives and stones. So in the middle is a dividing line. I'm still a disciple, but I got a new chief now, and his name is Jesus Christ.
Whoa. Didn't the Bible tell us to be like the Good Samaritan and go and spread the love to those that are hurting and need it. And he said, the Good Samaritan, be like him. His family is hurting.
My name is Dante Wolf Wilson, CEO of Notarized Inc. As with my other brothers, as they say, we all ex-gang members. Now we used to go against each other. Now we come together to bring you Peace in the East Softball Sunday, which, as you see in the background, is different organizations coming together under one accord for the sake of peace, to show the world that it can be done. You know, the only thing, and at all times you hearing about the negative, but here's some positive for you. Here there's over 100 people out here. BDs, GDs, MCs, Stones, Vice Lords, Family, Neutrons, we all out here on a peaceful accord. 3 weeks now. No incidents, no fights, no disagreements, just good softball.
Or homicide since February last year. The hometown paper has been tracking every death. Most victims are young black men, often from a handful of neighborhoods. 4,500 Americans were killed in Iraq, this many in Afghanistan. More have been killed in Chicago since 2001 than in both war conflicts.
So, you know, you can support us, you know, by showing up, seeing that what we are about. We are here every Sunday, 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock at the South Shore Rosenblum Park.
So now tell our audience how you're working to get these young GDs and young Vice Lords out from what you used to do to what you're doing now.
So pretty much, you know, as the weeks are going on, different people have started to show up, even some of the young guys. They even asking to play in the softball now, you know what I'm saying? So if we start the movement of coming out and showing, if we can even get them involved in playing and see that we come together, the camaraderie that we have, that shows them that it's possible, you know, to be affiliated with someone that's not affiliated with the same organization you're in, but yet come together and do things in a peaceful manner. And so next week we should have about 5 or 6 13 to 17-year-olds that we're going to allow to play and integrate with us so that they can participate and enjoy the peace movement.
Okay, let me see it. Oh, they got the little ones out here playing baseball. Watch out now. The little ones with the softball. He said he finna hit a home run. There it is. He finna hit a home run. There it is. He finna hit a home run. There it is. He finna hit a home run. There it is. And he's running, ladies and gentlemen. He's running. Oh, we got one on first and one on second. He can run. He's running. He's taking the next base. There it is. He got it. And he's going to home. Oh, he's going home. He's going home. Can he go home? He's home. He's home.
Yo, I got a destiny. So love your neighbor like you wanna be. Love is leaving out violence everywhere. So love your neighbor like you really care. I got a destiny to be God-style. All my homies are trying to ride in sick cars. Trying to be cool and get in the game. Being down with the thugs, you're doing the wrong thing. But for me, you see, I got my eyes on the goal. When they tell the story, will be told. I'm on the honor roll. Coming through the door with a full scholarship. Now don't you know? I'm the best for these. Now I can't see. Cause all for Christ in my destiny.
Wow.
We would like to also bring in some other key players. Brother Stacy.
Yes, sir.
Hey.
Tell them what we did.
Well, we just had a good time out here, you know, showing like the brother said, we're just showing peace and love and on the east side, you know, like the brother said, we was all ex-gang members and rivals, you know, we're a family now, you know, we come out here every Sunday and get it in, man, you know, And it's good games, man. It's fun, and everybody out here participating, man. We got support, man. And it's about our community, man. Peace, y'all.
As a mechanic, and he's doing the brakes. Now, he's gonna tell you how important brakes is, and this is the revelation we want you to see concerning the violence in this city. How important are brakes?
Stop.
And say it a little louder.
Need them to stop. Without brakes, you can't stop.
Without brakes, we can't stop. In other words, if we don't put the brakes on, with these young folks killing each other, it ain't gonna stop.
And so as you see, we got different people out here in the community, man. We got a lot of people that come out to support. You know, they just watch. Some people come out and play in the Peace of the East. You know, it's just, it also brings the community together. You know what I'm saying? And know that when they come out here, that they're coming out to a peaceful and safe environment.
And peaceful and safe environment from ex-gang members.
Definitely peaceful and safe environment. Hey, y'all real quick, man. Y'all real quick.
So these young men are peaceful and safe. That what you telling me?
Definitely loving the Peace in the East movement. Beautiful demonstration every time, all the time. No, we need more brothers to come out and support this demonstration because the love out here, life out here, and the kings and queens out here.
All right. Now, are you still from
Peace in the East?
Y'all from ex-gang members? Retired gang members?
I'm black.
We South Shore community.
No, what I'm saying is because them young folks need to see what y'all doing here. You came from those that came from that lifestyle. Those that are in that lifestyle need to see that they don't have to stay in it, and they can be like y'all are now.
Yeah, that's up.
Enjoying one another instead of rivaling against one another. So now, this is powerful. This is what should make the news.
We definitely bring it back, though. You know what I'm saying? It's out here, though. You know, so we inspire any and those who want to come and get involved with some love and some peace. It's definitely out here, right here for you, though.
Stand up for Willie Cooper. Stand up for every person that lost their life to a gun, to a senseless act of gun violence. And that shit is sad because he took care of everybody out here. He took care of everybody. He took care of the young, the elderly, the cocaine addicts, the heroin addicts, and the degenerates. He didn't care who you are. He took care. He even took like him telling me, and I'm definitely crazy.
That's word. That's word.
See, we got the young ones out here. Got my nephew out here, little Fang. You enjoyed yourself today?
All right, nephew. All right, gentlemen. So what kind of work we doing? What kind of jobs we got and that we doing to make things happen for the community?
We trying to make love back in our community.
Love back in the community.
Yes, sir.
All
Shout
right.
out to the organizers.
Yes, we got the organizers. We got the organizers. Yes. We got the organizers.
The strength of the people become the power of the community.
Yeah.
Remember that, notarized. www.notarized.com.
Notarized.com.
Check us out.
Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out at notarized.com. We love our people. We love our community. We were once perpetrators of the negativity in our community. Today, you know, we try to curb the violence. We try to help give back to the community with different feeds of the homeless, back to school giveaways. November, I don't know the exact date, but in November we'll be giving away turkeys to the community. Every Christmas we give a toy drive. We give away toys and feed the community for Christmas, man. We just try to get back and show people out here that there are people out here that do care.
What about the churches in the neighborhood?
The churches in the neighborhood are asleep. The ministers in the neighborhood in the black community need to be revived. They need to be saved. They need to be born again, because inside of the black community, you got 100 churches and 1,000 dope dealers right down the street, and people being gunned down all day, every day. So what are the churches doing? Because inside of the black community, you got 100 churches and 1,000 dope dealers right down the street, and people being gunned down all day, every day. So what are the churches doing?
All right, now, tell us what you know about the system. That is not always the young guys, and it ain't always y'all fault. Help them on this, because we can't put everything on the gang life.
And what they did was criminalize black life in all kinds of ways. Now, that created a kind of a slave force. In fact, one of the most interesting books on it, Douglas Blackman's, is called Worse Than Slavery or something like that. It threw mostly black males, but also women, into jail, where they become a perfect labor force, much better than slaves. If you're a slave owner, you have to you have to keep your capital alive. If the state does it for you, it's terrific.
So definitely, you know, the system has failed us in our communities. I'm one that really believes in us policing each other. I believe in us, you know, holding each other accountable for what's going on in our community. Of course, the system does not give us the adequate resources that we need to get these young brothers off the streets. We are failed to a government system that allows us to receive government assistance to actually, I don't think, encourage us to do better, but to hold us back and keep us down.
Hidden among the ranches and rolling hills in the northern part of Denton County, Texas, the remains of more than 400 people lie in an overgrown cemetery. And even though it was abandoned and forgotten a long time ago, a few headstones can still be found. But most of the graves in this place never had a marker to begin with. That's because the people who were buried in them were considered to be property, not much different than a horse or a mule. This is where slaves were buried.
Whipped by the same master.
For almost 250 years, our people were held in bondage. And today, this period of history has come to be known by an ancient Swahili word. It's called the Ma'afa. And it began when the first Africans were shackled to the bottom of a slave ship. But the irony is that it did not end when the slaves were freed. In fact, it hasn't ended yet. And as you're about to see, a hidden racial agenda is keeping the Ma'afa alive into the 21st century.
I do not join in the belief that the African is our equal in brain or in heart. And I believe that if we can, in any fair way, possess ourselves of his services, we have an equal right to utilize them to our advantage. Francis Galton, 1857.
Francis Galton is known as the father of eugenics. He actually coined the phrase eugenics. So he believed in trying to increase those he felt were superior in stock and decrease those he felt were inferior.
It's a very racist society. I mean, it's pretty shocking. What has happened in the last roughly 30 years with regard to African Americans, no strikes, no disobedience, perfect labor force. A lot of the American Industrial Revolution in the late 19th, early 20th century is based on that. Actually, it pretty much lasted until the Second World War, when there was a need for what's called free labor in the war industry.
And so, you know, with the administration that we have in office now, I don't think that they're doing the necessary things to give back to our community. And so we've taken the initiative to do that amongst ourselves. One of the faults, I think, of us as people, we sit back and we waiting on politicians and other people to come in our community to do things that we have the ability as African Americans to do for ourselves.
By the 1970s or 80s, it's going back to criminalization of black life. It's called the drug war, which is a racist war. Ronald Reagan was an extreme racist, didn't hide it. And the whole drug war, so-called, is designed from policing up to eventual release from prison to make it impossible for the black male community and more women and more Hispanics to be part of the society.
As Moorish Americans, to do for ourselves. You know, we, I think as a people, have lost our complete identity as to who we are, and we've accepted the identity of what this government system has given us. And so I believe this system has failed us, and it's continuing to fail us.
Now, is this failure by accident or is it by design?
Oh, definitely is by design, man. Brother Stacy, definitely is one that can speak upon that.
It was definitely by design.
5. COINTELPRO. Peace activists suspected the FBI of infiltrating the anti-war movement, and they were right. On March 8, 1971, they broke into an FBI office and stole hundreds of files which revealed the Bureau's true motives. The counterintelligence program was an aggressive, covert operation by the Bureau to destroy communism and the New Left. For nearly 2 decades, the FBI sought to intimidate, blackmail, and sometimes even assassinate individuals who threatened to disrupt political order. They even targeted Martin Luther King Jr., wiretapping his hotel rooms and trying to persuade him to commit suicide.
And I just want to speak on behalf of the whole event. When they told me what it was, I had to ride for it. I'm old. I had to ride for this one, man, for the youngsters.
Now, when you say it's definitely by design, give us a little more breakdown on the design of the system to incarcerate the drugs in the community, the guns in the community. Who's putting all this stuff out there that y'all?
CIA drug trafficking. In 1996, investigative journalist Gary Webb exposed the CIA for facilitating the sale of cocaine to LA street gangs. Webb alleged that in the 1980s, the CIA targeted drugs to African American communities, and millions of dollars worth of cocaine funded the CIA's army in Nicaragua. Newspapers influenced by American intelligence, like the LA Times, severely discredited his work. With his career in ruins, Webb took his own life. 9 years later, the LA Times apologized for falsely attacking Webb and admitted that his allegations had indeed been correct.
If you go all the way back, mass incarceration is the new Jim Crow.
Okay.
If you go all the way back to the Reagan days, that's when the crack cocaine was infiltrated into our communities, and that's when everything pretty much changed.
The 13th Amendment says no man can be held under enslavement or involuntary servitude except for conviction. Because we got the Emancipation Proclamation and slavery has been abolished, but yet it's still written in our Constitution that it never really left.
Crack cocaine took over our communities, started destroying our communities, destroying our families, started locking our men up, our husbands up, our fathers up, and then left our women out here to pretty much raise all our children. And so, yes, this whole thing was by design. I hate when they refer to our communities as the inner city or the ghetto, but this is what they created. When they built the project, the purpose of the project was to keep us all in one enclosed area and turn us into caged animals, so to speak.
And as we know, black ghettos was purposely created by the federal government. There are obvious, neutral, natural consequences to putting hopeless people into conditions so cramped and desperate that few have enough resources to survive. Studies show that if you put enough rats into small boxes with nothing else to do, they'll have babies, but then they'll run out of room. Eventually, they begin killing each other and even eat their young. And that's what the projects, the ghetto, the hood, and the traps are all about.
In 2007, Live Action Films of California conducted an undercover investigation of Planned Parenthood offices in several states. Under the direction of the organization's president, Lila Rose, the goal of the project was to determine whether Planned Parenthood officials would accept financial donations on the condition that the money would only be used to eliminate African Americans. The following clips are from the actual recordings of those conversations.
When I underwrite abortion, does that apply to minorities too?
If you specifically want it to underwrite an abortion for a minority person, you can target it that way. You can specify that that's how you want it spent.
Okay, yeah, because there's definitely way too many black people in Ohio, so I'm just trying to do my part.
And when they tore the projects down, they unleashed the people who were not ready to live amongst each other in a normal setting. And so what we have today, you see, is the violence run rapid in our communities based on the design of infiltrating our communities with different drugs and different guns, and definitely with police who I don't think are definitely not serving and protecting our community.
All right, all right.
They bring the drugs to us, then arrest us for them. We ain't got no drugs. They bring them here. Yeah, and then
we don't make
guns. When they bring them, but see, they don't arrest the guys that come with the boat. They arrest the guys with the bags in their pocket. You know, this is by design. You know, if you got crack cocaine, it's a different charge than when you have powder cocaine. Why is that? Because the white guys get caught with powder cocaine and black guys get caught with crack cocaine.
So when you say difference, what's the difference?
The difference is crack cocaine is in the black community.
I'm saying as far as the sentencing.
The sentences?
Yeah.
You got one strike against you once you arrested. So, I mean, just by you being black, you guilty to proven innocent.
I'm saying the sentencing between the powder cocaine and the crack cocaine, what's the difference in that, the sentencing?
If you got less than 14 grams of powder cocaine, it's a misdemeanor. One bag of crack cocaine is a felony.
What?
So this is about.
Wait a minute, you gotta say that again. Say that again.
If you have less than 14 grams of powder cocaine, it's a misdemeanor.
Can you give us an idea of the size of a bag of 14 grams of powder cocaine?
Probably about that big.
All right, about that big. Okay. Okay, and then a bag of crack cocaine.
That big.
That big.
That big.
And you get a felon for that, and you get a misdemeanor for the powder.
Exactly.
14 grams.
I mean, we got shootings in our neighborhood, but we don't even have a trauma center.
Don't have a trauma center.
Well, a trauma center. We gotta go thousands of miles for if somebody gets shot or stabbed or anything or such. You have to go 30-minute ride. They might take you northwest.
The reality of this event is for the kids.
For the children, all right.
Not what's going on. You know, we can't tell you what's going on in the community, but we can tell you what's going on here. You know, we out here for the kids.
So what you got to say about the what you call it again?
Peace and ease.
Peace and ease.
It's nice and beautiful. It's nice and fun.
Nice and fun. Okay. Also, you playing baseball?
Yeah.
Watch out now.
Yeah. The church well on 79th and Yates. That's where I'm gonna be going now.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, awesome.
You know about Notarized Ink back to school event? Notarized Ink back to school video.
Yeah.
So what happened with the Notarized Ink back to school event?
It was a lot of activities so kids can do, and it's like showed you like how fun it will be, and it's attracting more people to have go to church over there.
All right, and so y'all having good fun, big fun, and getting some back to school supplies.
Yeah.
All right.
we got a book bag. We got our haircuts, and they let us play basketball and stuff.
Really? Awesome. Awesome. So Notarized Ink is doing the do.
Yeah.
All right. Somebody got to put the brakes on so that the violence can stop. Then you can roll in loving your neighbor. You dads out there that haven't taken out time to raise your sons, and they're out there taking other folks' lives. You got to go back and get to your sons, you uncles and cousins, neighbors and friends. You got to see about these young men. Otherwise, they're going to be extinct. So what do you got to say to these young folks out here about their purpose, their gifts, their talent, what you got that God gave you that you can be using for your own business, for your life, to help somebody, not to hurt somebody, but to help somebody. What gift do you have? Now this is a gift that transferred down, I believe, from God, of course, but also through his granddad, who had the shop and did all the mechanic work. You can see my hands clean. I told him, I said, I wasn't doing all that. But it skipped over our generation and got to their generation. So now he's the mechanic in the family from my dad, who was the mechanic in the family. But it's a gift, and you got to find your gift. And it's not shooting folks. It's not robbing folks. It's not running around in gangs. It's doing something edifying, positive, to help somebody, not to hurt somebody. So Jordan, what do you got to say?
Find something you love to do, beneficial for you and your family, do it. The best of your ability. Keep out on opportunity.
Find something you love to do to benefit you and your family, and do it. This is the Love Your Neighbor campaign, and we need you loving your neighbor.